Let me ask you a question that might make you stop and think for a second. When you hear the word weakness, what comes to mind? Maybe it's a flaw, a vulnerability, a soft spot someone can take advantage of. But here's the truth I want to share with you today. What many people call weaknesses are often just misunderstood strengths, qualities wrapped in sensitivity, or signs of deep humanity. And when it comes to women, those so-called weaknesses that people love to list out and criticize, they are often the very reasons why women hold families together, why they inspire nations, and why they carry an inner power that can't be broken. See, society has always been quick to label too emotional, too sensitive, too forgiving, too cautious. But stop for a second. Aren't emotions the driving force behind connection? Isn't sensitivity the very thing that allows someone to notice when another person is in pain? Isn't forgiveness the ability to release anger and find peace? The world doesn't need less of these qualities. The world needs more, and that is where I want to shift your perspective today. Every man who thinks he needs to learn about a woman's weakness should understand this. What you see as weakness may actually be her superpower, and if you can recognize it, respect it, and appreciate it, you will see a side of strength that no book, no motivational speaker, and no leader can ever truly teach you. Let's break this down. People say women are too emotional, but emotion is what fuels dreams. Emotion is why a mother can stay awake all night caring for her sick child without a single complaint. Emotion is why a woman can turn pain into poetry, heartbreak into art, and suffering into resilience. What some call emotional weakness is, in reality, emotional intelligence, a radar for human connection that many men struggle to understand. Others say women are too forgiving, but forgiveness is not a weakness. It is one of the hardest acts of courage. Anyone can hold on to anger, anyone can plan revenge, but it takes real strength to let go, to rise above, to say you hurt me, but you will not define me. A forgiving heart is not weak, a forgiving heart is free. Then you hear the claim that women are too cautious, too fearful. But let me ask you this, is caution weakness? Or is it survival instinct? Generations of women have been taught to move carefully, to sense danger where others see none, to notice the details that men often ignore. That cautiousness is not a flaw, it is wisdom. It is the reason women can balance careers and families, the reason they can plan ahead, and the reason they can protect not only themselves but everyone they love. Some argue that women depend too much on others, but dependency, when you look closer, is another word for connection, community, and trust. The strongest people are not the ones who stand alone. They are the ones who know how to build networks of love, of friendship, of support. If a woman leans on others, it is not because she is weak, it is because she understands that life was never meant to be lived alone. Then there's sensitivity. How often do you hear that being sensitive is a weakness? And yet, sensitivity is what makes someone an artist, a healer, a leader with empathy. Sensitivity allows women to notice when something is wrong before anyone else does. Sensitivity is not fragility. Sensitivity is awareness sharpened to the finest point. And yes, people will say women are indecisive, that they take too long to choose, to commit, to decide. But let me tell you something. Hesitation does not always mean confusion. Sometimes hesitation is weighing the cost of every decision, making sure that when she does choose, she chooses fully, completely, with no regrets. That's not weakness, that is responsibility in its purest form. Another so-called weakness, overthinking. But have you ever considered that overthinking is just deep thinking magnified? That the questions women ask themselves at night are the very questions that make them excellent problem solvers, planners, and vision. Overthinking is the mind's way of preparing for every outcome, and while it can be exhausting, it can also be life-saving. And let's talk about physical strength. Yes, in general, men may have more muscle mass, more raw power, But strength is not just about lifting weights or running faster. Strength is carrying life inside you for 9 months. Strength is enduring pain that would bring most to their knees and still smiling the next day. Strength is working twice as hard to be recognized in a world that often underestimates. If you measure strength only by what the eye can see, you will miss the deepest strength of all. Finally, there is vulnerability. Society has painted vulnerability as weakness, but in reality, vulnerability is the doorway to courage. It is the ability to show your scars without shame, to admit you're human, to open your heart knowing it might break. Vulnerability is not weakness. It is the birthplace of authenticity, intimacy, and love. So, to every man watching this, understand something important. When you look at women and think of weaknesses, you are looking through the wrong lens. A woman's heart, her emotions, her sensitivity, her vulnerability. These are not weaknesses for you to exploit. They are lessons for you to learn. Because the truth is, the qualities you dismiss are often the ones you lack. The patience, the empathy, the intuition, the emotional depth. If you want to be a better man, don't just study a woman's weaknesses. Study her strength, disguised as weaknesses. Recognize them, honor them, and more importantly, learn from them. Because the real measure of a man is not how much power he has over others, but how much respect he gives to those he cannot fully understand. Women do not need saving, and they do not need fixing. What they need is to be seen for what they are: complex, resilient, powerful, and deeply human. Their so-called weaknesses are what make them real, and it is in that reality where their true beauty and strength live. So the next time you hear someone talk about the 9 weaknesses of women, flip the script in your mind. See the courage inside the caution, the strength inside the sensitivity, the wisdom inside the hesitation, the love inside the emotion. Because when you start to see women, not for their supposed flaws but for the strength those flaws conceal, you will not only understand women better, you will understand life better. And that's the real lesson. Life is not about hiding weaknesses, but about embracing them, learning from them, and transforming them into power. Women have been doing this for centuries, and if you are wise enough to watch closely, you'll realize those weaknesses every man must know are actually the keys to strength. Every human must honor.